Hi guys, we have a random chat between three people. Myself, I'm Henry with Henry Singles Meetup. Have a very good friend of mine, Dena Rutledge, and Victor, who's another good friend of mine. Dena is part of BNN. Done a wonderful job of hosting an event, and hopefully I will ask her if she can host more events for us. Victor has been consistent being one of the very few guys who actually comes to events and actually makes comments in the comment section. Today's topic is about relationship. We want to talk about the problems we usually have in Atlanta. The most common problems among men and women. Dena, I believe you have a bad experience. Can you tell us about this bad experience, Dena?
Well, I was asked out on a date with a gentleman, and he wanted to do something different, not the typical just go to dinner. So he asked me, can we go bowling and to dinner? So it was on a Sunday afternoon. I met him at the bowling alley, and when I got there, he was already getting the lane together, and got my bowling shoes. So I'm all excited. So we go and we play, one of the games of bowling. And so I'm thinking, okay, I'm looking at the thing, it's about to get up, we're going to do another game because I lost, okay, so I'm going to try to beat him this time. And so he taking off his shoes. I'm like, where is he going? What's happening? So the game's over. We paid one bowling. So then he said, hey, you want to go and shoot some pool? So it was a pool table in there. And so we stuck the the 4 quarters in, and we went and shot one game of pool. Now all this time, I'm sweating a little bit. I'm getting a little thirsty. You never asked me, did you want a drink of water? Would you like a soda? Do you want, something to eat? And I'm like, okay, that's fine. We're gonna go to dinner afterward. But I'm like, okay, at least he could have had me something to drink. So he's like, okay. After we shot the game of pool, he said, well, what are you about to do? I'm gonna go home and fix me something to eat. I'm like, really? I thought we were going to dinner. So he walks me out to the car. It's chilly that day. We stand out there and talk for a while, and it's cold. And all the time I'm sitting there thinking, I am thirsty. I cannot believe this man did not get me anything to drink or to eat. And we're done. The date lasted all of an hour and 45 minutes.
But let me interject you for a minute. Do you think he was responsible or obligated to give you a drink if you never asked?
Yes.
He
asked me out on a date. And to my understanding, we were going out to play, shoot, do some bowling, and also for dinner. So it was most definitely my expectation that he would.
Okay. So it pretty much boils down to, what you spoke was not supported by action. You said you're going to bowling, and then after bowling you're going to have something to eat, right?
Right.
And it didn't happen. So if he didn't mention going to eat, then you wouldn't be expecting. Then you wouldn't complain. But then you wouldn't complain because y'all never talked about it.
But I would have expected a soda. Could I get you something to drink?
Okay. And I got your point, but let's go ahead and count. Let's count his money that he spent. Not that it really matters, right? Bowling is about, for you and him, let's say $7 each, $15,
okay,
right? The shoes. So he must have spent at least $22 for one game. $22. And you said he put money in a slot for the pool?
Oh, 4 quarters.
Oh, you counted $1. So $23, right? $23 is a cheap date. He probably could have, asked Dena if she wanted something to drink. If they wasn't gonna do dinner or lunch. So yeah, she's got a point. I agree with her. Now, what was your question?
Listen, I'll say this. I think most women, they stay stuck up in the old way of doing things. When somebody asks you for a date, I would always advise that you have some of your money in your pocket too.
I did.
If he doesn't come out with your expectation.
But I think Dena's really talking about principle, not the fact that she didn't have money in her pocket. right? Out of
Right.
principle.
I have, right.
And he wanted the kids. Did you say he wanted the kids?
He wanted, well, yes, when he called me later and, said he had a good time. And then he was like, man, I was standing there talking to you and I really wanted to,
lean in.
and I really wanted to, kiss. And I said, not with my lips was dry. I was thirsty. You wasn't getting.
Hey, you said you felt like biting his nose up. Sounds
If
like
he would have leaned in,
long ass
if he
nose.
would have leaned in, I would have bit his nose off.
Pinocchio biting
With
Pinocchio's
my dry
nose
mouth
off.
and all, I would have bit his nose off.
Oh, that's funny. And my thing with Atlanta is, a lot of women are stagnant. The expectation of, we texting every day, that's fine. As a man, you got to start off. You text, you contact. My formula is 2 or 3 times. Either first text, 2 phone calls, or 2 texts and a phone calls. It's a combination of making contact. If you're not reciprocating, I'm out. So a lot of women are stagnant. You text every morning. Let's say you have that 2 conversations on the phone. And usually I like an hour conversation on the phone, the first 2 or 3 times, right? So let's say you get that hour out of the way, right? Then the morning after or a day after, I text. Okay, then I relax, maybe 2-3 days, and see if it's reciprocated. Usually it's not. So either she's not interested, which is fine, or what?
Or
just dull, just stagnant, just there, just not moving. Show that you have interest. If you're not interested, let it be a telephone obituary, because it's going to be a telephone obituary with me. But I mean, a lot of people here, and this boils down to this, and I'll come back to what you said about a lot of women here don't know how to approach, and this is not the six. Can you elaborate on that?
Yeah, like as I said before, a lot of women, they think it is the man's obligation when they see them to approach them.
Mm-hmm.
I was being raised by my mom, and my mom used to tell me something. I used to tell my sister something that I always listen. He said, there are times you see somebody that you're trying to, you have to make the move because you may never see that person again.
Mm-hmm.
So my advice to most of the women is, when you see somebody that you like, always try to make that move, because if you dwell on the old school, you may end up losing your right now.
But then, don't we see sometimes, I think the fear of that with women is that then we would look to be aggressive, thirsty, out of place, because then it's back to us being submissive, and if we approach, then we're being too upfront or.
And you know what? I agree with both parties. I agree with what you're saying about a lot of women are stagnant. They don't know how to approach. I understand that. Dena is saying that a woman who usually approaches may intimidate a guy because it seems like it's too aggressive. I understand, and I don't think anybody's right or wrong. The thing is, approaching is fine. It's how you do it. And I did mention that in the comment section. As a woman, if you want to approach, you got to be very careful, because I know a lot of women don't like rejection. Y'all hate rejection, but we deal with it every day. So approaching a man is fine, but how you do it is very, very crucial, because it could drive a man away. Now, how you approach me, I would be looking at it like, okay, is this what she does with everybody, a lot of people? Who is she? Is she really out there? I'll be thinking, so it depends on how you do it. For example, I'm at a club, right? And you strike up a random conversation. And remember, I did talk about this in the speed dating comment section. Random conversation as in, oh, hi, how you doing? And I ask you a random question about the venue, right? Without getting personal. Oh, have you ever been here before? What kind of events do they have here? From that random conversation, if he's interested, it moves personal. So you don't make it impersonal. Oh, what's your name? Do you come here a lot? I mean, where do you stay? Where are you from? That's personal. That may get me a little more intimidated, you know. But if you make that random conversation and you're not interested, and Dena doesn't, and I don't reciprocate to, you know, Dena's dialogue, she wouldn't feel bad if I don't, you know, reciprocate, because she never made a move on me. It wasn't personal. So I think, you know, you both are right, but it all depends on, and we already talked about this in the comment section. Good point, though. You got any other bad experience?
You know, I mean, the only thing that I would say is, you know, with men sometimes it seems to be a double standard. You know, they want us to be independent in some cases, but at the same time submissive. But, you know, when you come across a woman who, you know, as someone that was out there who has her own, then at the same time there's an intimidation, you know, with other men about, you know, with that. It's not for all women, and I can't say that for everyone. I can speak, you know, for myself. I want you to be the man. I want you, you know, to provide, to take care. I'm ready to get into, and this is my comment, I'm ready to get into the driver's seat. You know, I mean the passenger seat. But you got to show me something, you know. And so men want us to release, you know, that power over, but you haven't showed us anything. So, you know, it kind of switches, you know, sometimes with me, with men. You know, they say one thing but act another way. And, you know, and even going back to the whole thing about us, you know, approaching, you know, or whatever, you got to understand that the man is seeking out the woman. So we're waiting to be, you know, discovered. So in that instance, we're waiting on you to show us that it is us that you want to receive.
Which is a very good point. So the notion of women approaching is more likely not gonna. It's more likely. The men really got to show some kind of interest before I think they would feel comfortable. But random approach is not going to change. The 60s always going to be here. Maybe not so much typical 60s, but it's not likely going to happen. And even the responses I received on the comment section with the speed dating, and everybody said they would rather wait, except for one person who said they go for what they like. And you know who you are. Aggressive.
They'd rather wait for the man to approach them?
No, the one person said they go for what they like. But most said they'd rather wait. And I set up a dialogue in response to what he said. The dialogue I just gave you with the random conversation, I set that up. And though they kind of agreed with it, but most would rather wait for a man too. And I think this wraps it up. Relationships. Relationship 101. Learn something.
Woo.